come on, look at that. Just look at that Mediterranean vegetable and feta cheese bread pudding. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are doing a savoury bread pudding. We are doing a Mediterranean vegetable and feta bread pudding. Now, need and necessity, over the years I've learned to make bread puddings not just as a sweet, and I've already got one on the channel which most of you have already seen, and it has been received very well. It is one of my recipes and I'm really thankful for how it's been received. I'm going to show you how to do a Mediterranean type bread pudding. So in here I have some garlic powder, and I'm just going to put in a little bit of evaporated milk. That's going to go in there, and we are going to rehydrate the garlic powder. Now don't worry about the lumps, you know, it will actually rehydrate in there with the milk and gives a lovely nutty garlic flavour. Now don't forget that this garlic has been dried out, so to rehydrate it, it gives us a better flavour than fresh garlic, especially for this type of dish actually. Of course you can use fresh garlic as well, that is entirely up to you. Right, we're just going to let that sit in there. Now I've got a whole array of vegetables and things on here. I'm using a tin of evaporated milk. Common make, it doesn't matter what you use, it's entirely up to you. And I've got some Spanish smoked paprika, and this is homemade sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil with a few herbs and garlic, roasted garlic. Now if you don't have sun-dried tomatoes, it doesn't matter, you can still make it with the ingredients. And don't forget, with all recipes you can change up or change down, put ingredients in, take ingredients out, that's entirely up to you. So I'm using these are homemade sun-dried tomatoes, going to give it that little extra boost. I've got some out of stock onions, but there's nothing wrong with this. We're going to chop that off, we're going to use that green bit, and we're going to have the diced onion. Don't get hung up on stuff like this, there's nothing wrong with this product at all. Okay, olives. I've got a few olives from a can. We're going to slice those. I've got some feta cheese which was on reduce, and I have some parmesan and a couple of peppers. So we just need to start prepping. Okay, we've got some courgette or zucchini. All we're doing is we are going to take some dicers. Dice it any which way you want. That is entirely up to you, and that's how big you want. So we just want some diced zucchini or courgette. Now don't forget, we're using the Mediterranean type ingredients and flavours for this. I have a pan, we're not going to put in a bowl, we're going to chuck all the ingredients straight in this pan. Don't worry about it. We might as well have another one of those in there actually. Our onion. Now you probably won't have this bit on there. Don't worry about it. You don't have to have that. But you know, there is nothing wrong with that. It is still onion. Okay, our red onion. You can use any onion, it could be white onion, don't worry about it. Use anything you like. Take off as much skin as you like. That is up to you. That is all wet and mouldy, we don't want that. So is that actually. And we want some dices of onion. That's all it is. Just dice it any which way you want. Let's not make a big fuss over it. In our pan, have a red pepper. We're going to have all of that. Again, we want some dices of our pepper. You can go as fine as you like, that's entirely up to you. And we've got a yellow one, we'll have some of that as well. In there, I've got some basil leaves. I'm going to give those a little chopping through. And then what we're going to do is chop some of these olives. We want to slice some of these olives across. We want some olive rings in there. Now, of course, you can just chuck the olives in if you so wish. That is up to you. We will just put back in that bowl. Okay, we want to be going in there with some olive oil. Now, you could have put the olive oil in it if you wanted, but up to you. Now, I'm using the olive oil out of my jar. It's already nicely seasoned. It's seasoned with the sun-dried tomatoes and roasted garlic. And what we're going to do is turn on the flame and we're going to give that a bit of a stir fry. We'll stir fry this off, and then whilst it's cooling down, we'll make up our custard for our bread pudding. A tiny amount of salt, not much. Now don't forget your olives are salty-ish. They've been in a salty brine. Now we're just sauteing these off a little bit. If we brown them, not a worry. Just look at those colours in there. Right, freshly ground black pepper, a little bit. Now we want a good 5 minutes or so on this to actually release as much of that fluid as we can into there. Now we do want fluid in our pudding, so the actual fluid that comes out here we will be including in there, because this is all juices, and juices add to flavour. And as we know, all of this stuff in here can be eaten raw, so it does not have to be cooked soggy. Just give it a little bit of 5 minutes, that's all it is. If some's cooked, some isn't, it's going in the oven. Now what I'm going to do is just take some of these sun-dried tomatoes and some of that roasted garlic that's in there, and this is going in. Now, you don't have to do this, obviously, it's optional, but the flavour intensity of sun-dried tomatoes is unbelievable. Okay, that's enough, flame off. That has to cool down, let's start prepping our custard. At home, oven on, 180, 360F, preheat. I don't have to preheat yet, I'm using the high sapienti air fryer oven. I'll preheat in a little while. And I've got this old bread. It's a couple of day old bread, and what I'm going to do is take the crusts off. Now you can just put the crust in if you want, but I'm going to use that for breadcrumbs. So we are just going to take that old crust off there. Nice and steady. Now don't take too much bread. We want the bread. Perfect. So you just take yourself a bag, shove all your breadcrumbs in there, and that's going in the freezer. In here, 4 eggs, our can of evaporated milk, our rehydrated garlic powder milk, and as you can see there was no lumps. It's rehydrated beautifully in there. Just give that a little mix up. I want to go in there with about a teaspoon of dried oregano, something like that. And I'm just going to go in there with about half a teaspoon of our Spanish hot smoked paprika. Chuck our bread in. Just break it up any old how, it doesn't matter. Break it small, break it big, up to you. You can use sliced bread for this, don't worry. I just tend to go look for this old bread that they sell off. You know, they sell it off every day where I am in the supermarket. People don't buy it for some reason, which is fantastic. It really is fantastic for me. In there with our fresh basil. I'm going to stick our oven on. It's going on for 180. It's on to preheat. And then we're going to add all our veg mix to that. We're going to give it a good stir in. So it's a good stir in. Incorporate all that eggy milk mixture in there with the bread and all that veg. So there's some pretty good smells coming out of there already. I'm going to go in there with a good amount of olives. I'm going to keep a little bit to put on the top in a minute. I'm going to stir those through. I have a little bit of parmesan which is going in there. So we're just going to give that a little stir up. So this is my feta cheese. I just want a little bit crumbled through there for now. And give it a good crumbling. We want to get that little bit of flavour in there. And then we're going to put some chunks in. And we're going to stir that through. We get a little bit of that crumbled cheese in there. So our dish then. A little bit of olive oil. And then we're just going to rub it round. And then we're in with our bread pudding. Now, don't squash it in, just chuck it in. Keep it nice and loose like that. It's going to find its own way inside. A little bit of feta in there. A little bit more of our bread mix. Okay, a little bit more feta cheese on there. Don't forget it's about the feta. It's vegetable and feta bread pudding. Freshly grated parmesan. Don't forget it's a taste of the Mediterranean. A little bit of drizzle of olive oil. And we'll just drizzle a little bit over it when it comes out. Some olives. And if you just want any other little bit of cheese on there, like mozzarella, cheddar, anything like that, just to put something over the top, and that goes straight in the oven for about 15 minutes. So we got 15 minutes, 180. That looks amazing. Oh, look at that. Drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the top of there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it out already into 6 portions because this is a crispy top on there. And if we let it cool down a little minute and then try and scoop it out, it's going to take all the top off. So we want to be straight down the middle. And we want to be coming in there, somewhere around about there. And then just run your knife around the outside, just in case it's stuck with the cheese and the bread and we didn't have enough olive oil. Now, like I said, I've kept some of this just to twinkle on the top. Over there, a little bit of that fresh parsley. And you have got yourself a Mediterranean vegetable and feta bread pudding, which can be served up with a crisp salad. You can eat it cold. The flavor profile all the way through this is off the charts. So I'll let it cool down and then we'll take a slice. Okay, you know we can't wait that long. Let's get in here. Oh. Oh, come on. Look at that. Just look at that. That is incredible. Just look at that Mediterranean vegetable and feta cheese bread pudding. It's just amazing what you can do with the ingredients. That is superb. All you need to do now is give it a taste test. There we are. Just look at that Mediterranean vegetable and feta cheese bread pudding made. That is absolutely, the smell coming off here is really, really good. Come on, let's get in here. Oh, crispy top. Look in there. Oh, you are kidding me. Oh, it's a bit hot. That flavour combination is completely off the charts. This is the type of food where you think, do I really need meat? Oh, that is incredible. That really is delicious. Now, I hope you like me introducing my recipes into this. You know, it's amazing what you can make with a loaf of bread and a tin of evaporated milk. There's a multitude of combinations you can make for a savoury bread pudding. Now, all I can say is this is one of those which is fantastic. Warm out of the oven. It's absolutely superb cold with salad. It is tremendous. The flavours in there are off the charts. If you like what we're doing, don't forget, smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.